What up? This is Rama Screen, and in the anticipation of Vanquish, which arrives in select theaters April 15 and on digital on demand April 20 and on Blu ray DVD April 27, I'm here talking with the director of this new film, George Gallo. How are you, George?
I'm fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank you for taking the time. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
As I understand it, you co wrote the script with Samuel Bartlett, right? Who came up
Yes.
with the story. So,
Yes.
talk to me about the evolution of the development of Vanquish and why did you decide that this was going to be your directorial film?
I always wanted to do a real old school kind of Korean gangster movie type of movie. I never get a chance to do those films. I do more, I've been doing more comedies and stuff like that, but I love those movies. And Morgan Freeman, this is my third movie with him. He's a very good friend. So when I read the script, I called up Morgan and I said, Morgan, would you like to do like a real fun, down and dirty, old school kind of, Korean gangster movie type of movie? Just in terms of the attitude of the film. And he goes, yeah, I would love to. And I go, you get to play a bad guy in this. And
Mm.
he goes, ooh, great. So that was sort of how it started. And then I worked with Sam on the script, and it evolved as we were going into production. The script changed quite a bit, mostly from input from actors, and a movie like this. These movies have been done. There've been a lot of these movies where, like, the woman, her daughter gets kidnapped, and she's forced to do various action type things. I've seen only like 14,000 of those. So I
Mm.
figured, how can we make this different? So as we were shooting, even during the whole shooting process, we kept saying, how do we make this different? How do we make it like you haven't seen it before? And we just kept trying to push it and stretch it and make it just different and fun, and try to make it fresh in some way. And also, importantly, make it believable, because, you know, the movies, to me, they cease to be interesting when they get increasingly ridiculous. So I wanted to keep it somewhat like you could actually believe this was actually happening. I mean, she doesn't fly through the air with a sword and, decapitates 30 people. Now, by the way, not to say I don't enjoy those movies either, I do, but this wasn't that. I
Mhm.
wanted you to really believe this could actually be happening.
Well, you said you've worked with Morgan Freeman before, but
Yes.
this is your first collaboration with Ruby Rose, correct?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so she's fresh off the popularity of Batwoman series, of course, and she's this
Hmm.
new rising action star. And so, talk to me about was she your first choice as the lead role for in this film, and how was directing her for some of those for many of those action sequences?
Ruby is great. Ruby's become a very close friend. We had so much fun working together. We're going to do two other movies together now.
Oh,
Yeah, we have a movie. We're doing actually. It looks like maybe two this year. I've got a little gangster movie with her, and then a really big, quite a different movie for her. Not an action movie at all. It's she plays an intern working at a wine company, and kind of a person that's been running her whole life, and kind of changes during the course of a season working in Napa Valley. So yeah, we got a few things we're working on. What was it like directing her? She's great. She's very, very, very fun, very inventive, very articulate. We have the same birthday, by
oh.
the way. Yes, I'm much older than she is, but we're both born on March 20th. So uh, yeah, she's just great. So and like I say, very, very, very committed. Very always wants to do it better. Always, v- and so do I. So very, very admirable. That she's a hard worker.
Shooting action sequences, do you have a
Yeah.
certain method or certain style? Because some people love stitching and editing much, and some people like to pull the camera back and let the audiences just see the whole thing. What's your style?
Well, they're all different. In this one, we had to do it quite a few of the things in cuts. I had multiple cameras on the street. Like I said, I never did really this amount of action in
Hmm.
one movie. In Double Take, which was a comedy I did with Eddie Griffin and Orlando Jones, we blew stuff up and had chases. But this movie's got a lot of motorcycle chases and car chases, and
Yes.
so I just pretty much did multiple cameras. I work with a terrific second unit guy, and the trick with these things is that you don't want to feel like you're watching two movies, like in terms of like, there's an action sequence and then everybody stops and they talk, and then it seems like a different movie. So, we had to try to find a way to integrate everything to make it all flow like one thing into the next thing.
Can I ask you, because I
Please.
noticed that the color palettes of blue and green are so striking in this movie. The use of
Thank you.
green specifically is very ever present throughout this film. Talk to me about the reason behind that. What sort of mood or environment that you were trying to create by emphasizing those colors?
Thank you for noticing. We used a lot of, I kept saying it's about a bunch of different people with different agendas during the night. And I wanted you to know instantly when you cut to that place that you were now in this other world. Now you were in this world, you were in that world. Like Morgan Freeman's world was very cold and very blue. And we actually shot all of that stuff in his house in 8K. So
Mm.
it was much different than the other stuff, which we shot, in more traditional digital formats. With the cops, with the green, I almost wanted to make it look a little bit like night vision. Yeah, we imbued everything in that palette. I greens and darker, uglier, not particularly pretty aesthetics. Where the other some of the other stuff I tried to make more balanced and more harmonious. Let's say, but. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, we we're very conscious of everything we were doing. The other thing is she makes 5 stops during the movie for the money pickups,
Mhm.
and it could get very repetitious. So I kept thinking, well, I don't want each place to look the same, and I don't want it to just be, a different location. So we literally changed color palettes in all 5 locations in some way to, in the scene where she ends up with the drug guys doing all the coke and stuff. There was like a lot of sharp contrast in that room and a lot of colors, but very, very jarring, kind of a look. And people fell off into the darkness very quickly in that room. Uh, yeah, I mean, we try to make each place feel substantially different.
Thank you for sharing that. It
You got
really
it.
is one of the things that stands out about this film. And finally,
Thank you.
a lot of my fans are aspiring filmmakers, aspiring
Sure.
screenwriters. What is your advice for them who want to break into this business?
Oh man, I've been doing this so long now.
Mm.
I don't know how you would break in, but I mean, back when I started, which was like 150 years ago, I think dinosaurs were still ruling the earth. You know what? You would, if you wanted to be a director, which is what I wanted to do, you'd have to come in through writing.
Mm.
I would say writing is always a good way to get into directing, and just in terms of the fact that writing is you're telling a story, and in directing you're telling a story. It's the same thing. It's always interesting to me how, a lot of times like a director who's so into directing doesn't know sometimes how to tell a story. You got to remind yourself, well, what am I trying to say?
Mm.
Just wanting to make it look cool isn't enough. It's what am I saying? What am I saying about the scene? What am I saying about the interaction of these people? In terms of breaking into the business, it's probably easier in some ways in that today you can take an iPhone and make a movie, and cut it at home on your computer. Back when I was starting out, you know, none of that stuff existed, so you'd have to basically just convince people somehow to give you money to make movies. You couldn't unless you had no way of making a movie. I was a pretty good a talker, so I would talk people into things pretty. No, it's in your best interest to give me this money to make this movie.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that advice. Very golden
yeah,
wisdom.
yeah.
For my fans at home, everybody go check out Vanquish, arriving in select theaters April 15, on digital and on demand April 20, and Blu-ray DVD April 27. George, thank you for talking to me and congratulations.
Thank you so much.